I'm here. Hope everyone is doing alright. I'm gonna be completely honest, kind of was waffling back and forth on if I was even gonna play anything tonight. Part of me was like, man, something didn't feel right. I just felt bad about everything, and it was getting, as it was getting like approaching 6, 7, 8, I was just like, I don't know. But I ultimately decided, sure, let's fire up the Shibuya Scramble game, and in an attempt to, I think on Twitter I said, in an attempt to feel something. I hope everyone's had a okay Saturday, considering. And I'm just gonna play a video game in an attempt to escape for a few hours and not feel like shit, hopefully. Change that. Okay. So yeah. And update, I had been meaning to say, or I somewhat hinted at earlier in the stream today, and that I got confirmation that it's working at this point. So I'm changing up the way I'm archiving videos slightly, so it's not anything that you'd immediately see. It doesn't impact like the way I'm going live or anything, or how live streams are happening on Twitch or anything. Let me make sure. Okay. Just making sure. Sorry, several things going on. So I'm changing the way I'm archiving videos slightly. So I had used to just use Twitch's own, just out of like pure laziness, kinda. I had just been and to save time on my ends, I'd been using Twitch's function to just kind of back up into YouTube directly. Like, they've got a built-in function for that. But there had always been a slight loss in quality whenever I did that. Like, if you ever went back and watched some of the archives, some of the video quality is lost for some reason when that happens. Not entirely sure why or the reason. So instead, starting today, what I've been doing, and I guess took effect as of the Hailstorm stream, like 40-minute long Hailstorm stream, I just started downloading directly from Twitch and then uploading to YouTube directly once I've downloaded and ripped the video itself. So in theory, that is not causing the loss in the audio or video quality. So then the way these streams happen, I think, you know, at the 60 frames, 720p, I believe the streams come out on my end. None of that's lost, and then I put that up to YouTube. So it's a few more steps and a bit more time on my end to get that done, but for someone like me, like who cares about stuff like that, weirdly, I did it for a couple videos now at this point, and I've seen the difference. And in games like this, it doesn't really change much because it's just a story, you know, thing. You might be able to see a slight difference, but obviously it doesn't make a big impact. What it's really going to do is increase the quality of the archives when I do other games. So like the most immediate impact is going to be most likely like when I start playing The Last of Us Part 2 coming out here in a couple weeks. Archives of that video are the quality is gonna be a lot better doing it this way compared to the old way. So I'm actually really excited for. It's the small things that I get excited for. And then only very related to that, barely. I learned Twitter does not allow you to upload videos that are at 60 frames per second, which is such a weird thing. And I learned, doing a little research, that they only take up to 40 frames per second, which is such a bizarre number to have as, like, a limit. Just a random thing I learned while working on stuff for videos and everything and doing stuff. So what I had to do recently is I had put just a clip from this stream on Twitter a while back, a couple days back, and I'd ripped it directly from Twitch, so it's still at 60 frames per second. I've been trying to put it up on Twitter, and it's not taking it. And then I had to do research as to why, and then I found out it's because they only take up to 40 frames per second. So then I had to download a video converter, basically, kind of thing, where I could force the video through it and basically tone down the frames per second, or I could change other things about videos as well. But mainly I was using it at that point to change the frames per second. Got it down to what Twitter would take. It's very, very bizarre tech stuff. So I think I'm just gonna go to Kano's story at this point. I believe that is what I'm to do now. It's the person whose story I'm farthest behind, and we corrected it by having the traffic jam happen. So let's go. I have no idea how long the stream will go tonight, I should say. As of right now, I'm like, oh, I could go for hours and hours and hours. But we know how that sometimes changes. Sometimes, depending on food throughout the night. Especially tonight. So, we'll see. See how long I can hold in there. Clear my throat. The car moved at a glacial pace toward the crime syndicate's hangout. Stanley pounded his fists on the steering wheel in frustration. They had no sooner set out than the traffic slowed to a near standstill. Despite the occasional lurch, it never crept above a crawl. Kano stewed in the passenger seat. The case was rapidly getting out of hand. Now he had to worry about the safety of both Maria and her sister Hitomi. Never mind the fact that Detective Tatsuno had also gone missing. There were too many unknowns, too many uncertainties. His unease was growing unbearable. Also, Tatsuno hasn't radioed in, and, can't reach him from our end either. Kuze's words kept echoing inside Kano's head. What could have caused Tatsuno to drop out of contact? Someone had gone after Hitomi while Kano and the others were busy trailing the Itachi case. Could Tatsuno have been... No, couldn't be. Kano was sure Tatsuno would have done whatever was necessary to keep Hitomi safe. Stanley broke the long silence. What's on your mind? Still thinking about that call from Kuze? Kano didn't answer. Look, if you're worrying about the other detective, the guy couldn't even protect one girl, Stanley continued. Not exactly a ringing endorsement. Don't you talk about Detective Tatsuno that way. I'm concerned about Hitomi Osawa, but the missing Itachi case needs to come first. Stanley's expression remained stone cold. Kano flashed him a sidelong glare, then went back to staring out the window. A moment later, a flurry of motion in a nearby alley caught his eye. But, with a start, he recognized Sasayama. His fellow detective was caught up in an altercation with a man in dark clothes. Kano sprang into action, his body moving almost before his mind registered the situation. Sasayama! Flinging the door open, he leapt out of his car. Hey, wait! Stanley called after him, but Kano was already sprinting toward the fight. Oof! The other man knocked Sasayama into a pile of garbage. As Sasayama struggled to get back to his feet, his opponent looked down at him with a triumphant sneer. Kano finally got a good look at the man. His eyes flashed with recognition. It was the perp who'd first taken the Itachi case back at the scramble. Tariq Al-Karawan. You! Kano growled. He sped like a bullet to tackle Al-Karawan around the legs. But Al-Karawan nimbly stepped aside. Kano's arms closed on nothing but air. At the same moment, Al-Karawan deftly wrapped an arm around Kano's neck. Kano felt a vice-like pressure on his carotid artery. Carotid? A move known as the front choke sleeper hold, constricting the carotid artery, stops blood flow to the brain, causing the opponent to lose consciousness, also known as a guillotine choke. His consciousness quickly began to slip away. Oh no you don't, you bastard, he snarled, lowering his center of gravity. He got hold of one of Al-Karawan's legs and used his shoulder as a fulcrum against it. Despite the arm crushing his neck, Kano managed to lift his opponent high into the air. He continued the movement to heave Al-Karawan up and over himself, slamming him upside down into the heap of trash. Nice split. Stanley strolled up to the aftermath of the struggle. Well, you've got the brawn part down, he said. Need some work on the brains. Al-Karawan was sprawled out atop the mound of refuse. He'd been knocked out cold. Sasayama coughed and sputtered. Kano went to help him to his feet, but Stanley stepped in between them. What are you doing? Stanley asked. Helping Sasayama. What does it look like? We need to apprehend Al-Karawan first. He's not even conscious. Sasayama can come first. He pushed Stanley aside and crouched down alongside his partner. Are you alright? He asked. Yeah, Sasayama groaned. You bailing me out, though? Can't let the missus know about that. Mum's the word, Kano said. He slipped an arm underneath Sasayama and helped him to his feet. I managed to find the guy who had the Itachi case, Sasayama said, but when I tried to arrest him, this fellow came out of nowhere and attacked me. He flashed Al-Karawan a nasty look. So here we go again, disobeying direct orders, Stanley huffed. What's the deal with Japanese police anyway? He shook his head in exasperation. Sasayama gave Kano a puzzled look, jerking his thumb at the American. Who's this guy? Fucking for real, dude. Who is this guy? It's a long story, Kano said. He filled Sasayama in on the situation. Enough chit-chat. Hurry up and cuff this guy, Stanley said. Kano knelt down by Al-Karawan's unconscious body, flipped him over, and proceeded to cuff his hands behind his back. Kano paused. Al-Karawan's sleeve had slid back from his wrist. What's this? The unconscious man had a tattoo of a two-headed scorpion on his left forearm. Stanley strode over. You find something? He asked. Yes, I think this guy might be the ringleader. Seeing the image had reminded Kano of something he'd heard back at headquarters, that the head of the foreign syndicate had a scorpion tattoo. He relayed this information to Stanley. I see. Stanley called up Kuze on his cell. You'll be happy to know that the guy with the Itachi case is still at large, he said. Apprehending the ringleader at this point shouldn't be an issue. One of your so very capable subordinates gave us a big step forward in the case here. Wait a second, Sasayama murmured. That was sarcasm, wasn't it? Stanley hung up and called over to him. Think you can escort this guy back to the precinct? Yeah, sure, seeing how very capable I am. Kano felt his phone vibrate. The display showed an incoming call from Rumi. Hello? He answered warily, keeping his voice down. Stanley had him a little on edge. It's me. It was Shizu. Damn it, Kano thought. He did not have time for this right now. But if he just hung up, he might be in even deeper hot water. Kano, let's listen to the man. Kano decided he better listen to what the old man had to say. Hello, sir. I'm afraid I'm not really at liberty to take a personal call right now, even if it is from my father-in-law. He did his best to sound apologetic. I'm not your father-in-law. Ah, yes, of course. Sorry, sir. He bowed his head reflexively, feeling like an idiot. You really don't give a damn about keeping me waiting like this, do you? Sir, I swear to you, I feel terrible. Please, I just... Flustered, he took a deep breath and recomposed himself. I promise you, sir. I promise I'll be there. If you can just wait a little while... Don't make promises you can't keep! Shizu's barking rebuke made Kano break out in a sweat. You think I'm gonna let you off the hook just because you're working a case? This is exactly why I don't want my daughter with some detective. Great. Another angry tirade. But didn't you used to be a detective, sir? Kano muttered. You watch yourself, you little brat. It's not enough that you keep calling me your father-in-law. Now you have to bring that up? Evidently, Kano had touched a raw nerve. Ever have a dentist hit a nerve while drilling a tooth? That's where this expression comes from. Thanks, game. Seemed like anything he said only made matters worse. Well, you're not off the hook, Shizu continued. I'm never letting my daughter marry the likes of you. His fury hitting its crescendo, Shizu promptly hung up. Why on earth did Shizu hold such intense malice toward police detectives when he'd been one himself? Kano had become a detective for Rumi's sake in the first place, and now it was the biggest thing holding him back. Hey, come on, let's go. Stanley's voice snapped Kano out of his daze. Ugh. Grimly, he followed the American back to the car. Yet again, Stanley was thumping the steering wheel in frustration. Traffic hadn't let up one bit. It was starting to look like they might never make it to the foreign syndicate's hangout. Kano caught sight of a girl in a hoodie, weaving her way between the stopped cars on foot. He rolled down the window and called out to her. Miku! It's Miku Morita. Was a fighter at the cosplay fighting pub, bride, but just decided to retire after losing to Tama the cat in a street fight. She's thinking about what to do with herself now. Excuse me, miss? Did something happen? Huh? What do you mean? With the road, I mean. What's with all the traffic? Oh, right. Apparently there was some big accident over by the train station. That's probably what's causing it. Really? Yeah, I don't think you guys are going to be going anywhere for quite a while. She smiled and went on her way. Stanley gave the steering wheel another punch. Well, I guess they did say this wasn't just some typical ransom case, he muttered. Kano saw an opportunity. If they're not after the money, then what are they after? Stanley kept his eyes forward, acting as if he hadn't heard. Look, Kano said, I can't help you if you keep me out of the loop. After a few moments of thought, Stanley replied with a single monosyllable. Drugs. What? Maria's father, Kenji Osawa. I assume you're aware he works for Okoshi Pharmaceutical. I am. Nothing's been made public yet, but Osawa recently oversaw the development of a new drug. It is not at all uncommon for a new drug to be in development for 15 years or more, with expenses totaling 20 to 30 billion yen, or roughly 200 to 300 million US dollars. Before it is approved worldwide, demand and sensational profits can be expected for groundbreaking medicine is developed. Nonetheless, pharmaceutical companies are often under major pressure due to the tremendous costs of labor and equipment. And someone is trying to get their hands on it. Kano's mind latched onto his new information, trying to assemble the pieces of an evolving puzzle. Someone? Who? An international criminal mastermind. This foreign syndicate is merely a tool in someone else's game. Kano regarded Stanley's face carefully. He looked more cold and serious than ever. So wait, does that mean that the reason we're letting the syndicate walk around unfettered is on my orders? Yes. I see. So the only thing you're really concerned with is catching this international mastermind. Precisely. Kano felt like he was starting to get a picture of what sort of person Stanley was. So you don't really care what happens to the girl who's been abducted, do you? Not particularly, no. Why? Do you have a problem with that? Kano clenched his fist. His hand was shaking with anger. Dictum number 8. When you really want to punch something, you really probably shouldn't. Kano recited the words inwardly like some sort of desperate mantra. If he didn't manage to calm himself down, he was liable to slam his fist right into Stanley's face. Outside the car, the traffic remained at a standstill. Kano chafed against a feeling of utter futility. One after another, his uncertainties came to nag at him. Was Maria still safe? What had happened to Hitomi and Tatsuno, her bodyguard? And now, on top of all this, it struck Kano as rather careless to send Sasayama away without Karawan, without any backup. Now that Jack had alerted him to the presence of a dangerous international mastermind still on the loose. Jack. Fighting back his fit of pique, Kano got out his cell phone. To do something impulsively out of irritation, resentment, or the like. Similar to doing something in a huff. Huh. I'm going to go with A. He dialed up Sasayama. He wanted to make sure his partner had gotten Al Karawan back to the precinct safely. Sasayama picked up almost right away. Kano, what's up? How are things on your end? Any problems getting Al Karawan back? Nah, I've got Tatsuno taking care of him. Wait, what? Kano could hardly believe his ears. You were in touch with Tatsuno? He asked. He could hear the shock in his own voice. Yeah, just bumped into him over by the precinct a little while ago. Then he is safe. Kano felt a surge of relief. What about Hitomi then? Stanley glanced over at him, curious. Tatsuno says he lost track of her somehow. And then he got called back to the precinct, apparently. Tatsuno had lost track of her. That's not like him, Kano thought. Since he was heading back there anyway, I handed our guy over to him, Sasayama said. I see. Kano was glad to hear that Tatsuno was alright, but his relief was tempered by a surge of anger at the thought of what had happened to Hitomi. Now I'm back to tailing the Itachi case, Sasayama continued. Today's my wife's birthday, you know. My plan is to wrap this thing up ASAP so we can celebrate tonight. I've already got a present and everything. I envy you, man. Closing his eyes, Kano took a moment to picture Rumi. But Shizu's face popped into his mind's eye right alongside her. Well, just hang in there, buddy. Even if your girlfriend is just a picture of Masami Nagahama. It's a callback joke. Midoriyama Academy graduate, national celebrity. Popularity shows no sign of slowing down after she played the female lead in such films as The Beast That Hoarded Gold, At the Heart of the World, and The Sweden Fortress. Sweden. There is another nationally famous actress with the same name, but it's a nationally known fact that the two are completely separate people. Ha 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 ha! Still snickering, Sasayama hung up. Kano bit his lip and slipped his phone back into his pocket. At long last, traffic began to move again. Jesus, almost as soon as it did, however, Stanley had to slam on the brakes. The abrupt stop made Kano smack his head against the windshield. Hey, what gives? Look, Stanley said. He gestured with his chin. Kano couldn't believe his eyes. There, walking along the sidewalk ahead, was Al Carowin. Very much not in custody. What the hell? Kano shouted, already hopping out of the car. Stanley was right behind him. They crept out on their target as silently as possible, then rushed him once they were close. In a moment, they had subdued him. Kano used his own body weight to hold Al Carowin down. What are you doing out here? He demanded. Whoa, hey, guess you didn't get the memo, huh? Al Carowin flashed a coy grin. They let me go. Let you go? I think your buddy here might have hearing problems, Al Carowin said to Stanley. I'm a free man. Kano turned and glared at Stanley. What is he talking about? No idea. First things first, get this guy back to the precinct. I'll head to the syndicate hangout by myself. You don't think this is weird? Kano asked. I mean, what the heck is this guy doing on the loose again? What matters is that he's free. Maybe he's telling the truth about being let go. But that's ridiculous. Then I guess he must have escaped on his own, Stanley replied. In either case, your buddy screwed up royally. Now it's on you to unscrew things. None of this sat right with Kano. The fact remained that he couldn't just let Al Carowin go. He gave Stanley detailed directions to the hangout, and the car sped away towards Yoyogi. Then Kano headed back to the precinct with his captive, trying to reassure himself that he might learn something from questioning Al Carowin that would help resolve the case. What the fuck is going on, man? Kano sat opposite Al Carowin in the interrogation room. He'd been attempting to interview the suspect for about a quarter of an hour. Al Carowin sat ramrod stiff. Not responding to any prompts or questions. What time is it right now? He asked. They'd taken away his watch, his wallet, a small knife, and his keychain. This was the third time he'd asked to know the time. Why are you so concerned what time it is? Kano asked. Carowin gave no reply. Are you waiting on something? Again, the suspect was staunchly silent. Kano wasn't sure what to make of this, but he took a look at his watch. It's around 2 o'clock, he said. What time exactly? It's 2:18. 2:18 and how many seconds? Look, just cut the crap. Kano grabbed the prisoner by the collar. The hell are you people after? Al Carowin merely repeated his question. What time is it right now? With a growl of aggravation, Kano shoved his wristwatch in Al Carowin's face. Ah, it's 2:20, Al Carowin said. Okay then, that should do it. What? What does that mean? The interrogation went on for several more hours. Despite Kano's best efforts, however, Al Carowin said nothing more. During all that time, the case continued to develop in unexpected ways, but Kano, stuck in the interrogation room, knew nothing about it until everything was already over and done. What? What happened? No way! While Kano performed admirably in recapturing Tariq Al Carowin, ironically his action actually disrupted the investigation. Maybe letting the syndicate run free for the time being really was the right call. Someone can do something at 1340 that throws a wrench into Kano's activities, thanks to the involvement of unrelated parties. And Kano's reaction will make the investigation play out differently. Someone does something at 1340. 1340. Oh, fuck. $13.40 here? $13.40 here? This is good. Keep out. Is this resolved then? I mean, it looks like whatever had happened here is resolved, but I'm not... I'll go into here and see what's happening. Alright, I think we laid low long enough, Archie said at last. Think we should be on our way? He was about to get on his feet when he heard voices outside the storeroom again. Yikes, that was pretty careless of us. Yeah, we definitely gotta watch it. It's the guy who makes the weird noises. I forgot. Your guys from earlier had returned. You sounded a bit panicked. Heard folks have been messing with the storeroom a bunch recently. Yeah. And did you hear who's behind it? Some juvenile delinquents. Like a gang? Wow, that takes me way back. Alright, let's hurry on back. Archie rushed over to the door. He tried turning the knob, but the door wouldn't budge. Oh, come on, are you freaking kidding me? He paced frantically around the room, pulling out his hair. We're locked in. And that door was the only way in or out. Archie and Hitomi were well and truly trapped inside the storeroom. This is all my fault, Archie said. It was my idea to hide out here in the first place. He bowed to Hitomi repeatedly. We're never going to be able to find that blue minivan now. Guess we'll have to get someone on the outside to help us, Hitomi replied. She scowled thoughtfully. They powered their phones back on in order to call for help. Oh, Hitomi chirped. That's me. She took a look at the LCD display. It's an email from Mr. Tanaka. Ah, okay. Hitomi began typing out a response with practiced ease. More wild delusions rose in Archie's mind. Ideas or fantasies conjured up in one's mind with no logical or factual basis. People can become deluded for various reasons about a whole host of different subjects. Thankfully, Archie's delusions here are of an ultimately harmless sort. Whoa! Oh my goodness. Stealing a quick glance at Hitomi, he noticed her gazing happily at her phone screen. His delusions ran even more wild. Yep. That's what it is. While he was still fretting furiously, Hitomi finished typing a response. So, what did you wind up saying? Archie asked. I explained the situation. That we're trapped in a storeroom, you've got some guys chasing after you, and you're looking for some van? Yes. I also asked him to please keep this a secret from my family and the police. Whoever this Tanaka guy was, Hitomi sure seemed to put a lot of trust in him. A short while later, Hitomi's phone chimed with a reply. She checked the screen in a flash, all eagerness. Archie did his utmost to pretend he didn't notice. Mr. Tanaka says he's going to look for the minivan for us. Huh? He says he wants us to hide out here for a little while longer. What? No, if he just comes and lets us out, I can go look for the van myself. He said that if someone's after me, it's safer to stay safe where we are. To stay where we are. I'm just adding words everywhere. Yeah, I'm out of the running, Archie thought to himself. This Tanaka was clearly pretty concerned for her. And there was really only one reason a middle-aged man would think like that. Alright, fine, we'll wait. Archie turned his own phone off, then slumped back in a huff. God, Archie's so jealous, dude. After 20 more minutes in the storeroom, the two were sitting in silence. Archie had run out of things to talk about. Do you think we'll ever be friends again? You and the one guy, Susumu, I think it was. Hitomi's questions caught Archie off guard. He stammered, unsure how to respond. Hitomi shook her head. I'm so sorry. I barely know you. That was insensitive of me. No, it's alright. I mean, sometimes I wish things could go back to the way they used to be, Archie said. He let out a tiny sigh. What that Kiryu guy said was the truth. I was the guy who founded SOS. Do you know what I mean by that? Hitomi gave a slight nod. I mean, I never wanted to be in charge of a gang or anything. But I knew that if I left, SOS would just fall apart. And I didn't want everyone else to get all caught up with who would take my place, you know? So I thought long and hard about it. Looking for a way for folks to stay friends even after I was gone. Are we in a flashback right now? A loud voice echoed through the pool hall that served as SOS HQ. An establishment for playing pool, more formally known as pocket billiards. This particular place is a pool bar serving alcohol. The standard pool table is rectangular in shape, sports 6 pockets, 4 in the corners and 1 in the middle of each long side. It sports multiple games, including 9-ball, 8-ball, and rotation. There are also tables without pockets. This style is known as carom billiards. What do you mean you're leaving? Sumu was positively red in the face. You're our founder, Achi. You can't just up and quit. Susumu had been almost like a younger brother to Achi. If anyone was going to try to stop him, Achi knew full well it would be Susumu. Look, I'm not gang leader material. All I've been trying to do is make sure we're all able to have fun. That's not true, Susumu said. Think about all the stuff you taught us. Don't you remember? Every man gets to make one request in his life that cannot be denied. Those are your words, Achi. Did I say that? It's the heaviest thing you've ever said. Then, to Achi's consternation, Susumu got down on his hands and knees. I'm begging you, please don't leave. Without you, SOS is nothing. Achi could feel his conviction waver. I'm begging you here, from one man to another. This is my one request. Susumu, I'm sorry. Achi could barely croak out the words. I'm leaving you in charge. You can't, Susumu pleaded. Please don't say that. Achi turned his back to him in silence. Please, Achi, why won't you listen? I can't possibly beg any harder than this. Enough with all the request nonsense. Achi grimaced. What? Look at you, down on your hands and knees like that. Pathetic. Ultimately stems from the Greek pathetikos, meaning subject to feeling, or capable of emotion. Over time, the meaning changed to signify exciting the passions, and later on to more modern sense of arousing one's pity. Achi spoke as harshly as he could, fighting to mask his true feelings. I'm fed up with you, all of you. With each word out of his mouth, Achi could feel his own heart breaking. But if he could make the others hate him, at least it would give SOS a reason to stay together. How can you say that? Don't you try and pull that crap. Sumu's tone had changed from sadness to anger. Fine, then, he railed. I'm never asking you for anything again. I'll do what you want. I'll take the reins of SOS. Achi walked away, waving vaguely without looking back. Good luck. I mean it. Once he'd stepped out of the pool hall, he wiped his sleeve across his face, came away wet with tears. Sometimes I think that maybe I could apologize to those guys and we could go back to the good old days again. But that's never going to happen, not unless Suzuno gets better. He stared into the distance at nothing in particular. At least he'd sorted out how he felt about his former pals. Is there nothing that can help your sister? Hitomi asked. She needs a heart transplant. And the problem with heart transplants is that the timing is tricky. The act of surgically implanting one person's heart into another's body. Such an operation is typically only performed on a patient with severe heart disease who cannot survive without a new heart. There are strict requirements that must be met before a heart can be transplanted, however, chief among them that the donor must first be brain dead. Even if there's a donor available, the transplant has to be performed within 4 hours or things get dicey. Because lack of oxygen causes damage referred to as warm ischemia damage. It might be ischemia damage. And in any organ removed from a human body, a transplant must be carried out, a blood circulation restored within a certain time window, known as the total ischemic time. In the case of a heart transplant, total ischemic time is only 4 hours. Helicopters and charter jets are frequently used to rapidly transport hearts for such operations. Crazy. Oh, wow. I didn't realize. Someone with a heart that's a match for Suzune would need to die somewhere near her, somewhere they could perform the surgery within that 4-hour window. The odds of that happening are so small, it would almost be a miracle, which is what my sister's been waiting for. Archie thumped the left side of his chest. If my heart would do the trick, I'd gladly let her have it. Damn it. And I've got a strong heart, too. He thumped himself on the chest again and again. He didn't mention it to Hitomi, but Suzune's blood type made finding her a heart transplant even more difficult. She had Bombay blood. Bombay blood! Type of blood that does not correspond to the more common types of A, B, O, or AB. In some instances, A standard blood typing yields a result of O in such individuals. First discovered in the city of Bombay, now Mumbai, on India's west coast, the blood type takes its name from that city due to its relatively high incidence rate amongst the inhabitants. It was one of the rarest blood types in the world. Apparently there are only a few dozen people in all of Japan who had it. Rare blood types such as Bombay are scarce enough that even nationwide blood centers seldom have them in sufficient supply. For this reason, when such blood types are discovered in everyday testing, samples are quickly taken to be frozen and stored at temperatures lower than 80 degrees below centigrade. If Suzune were ever to receive a heart transplant, it would need to be from someone who also had Bombay blood. Hachi. It totally sounded like she was on the verge of tears. Wow, she must really feel bad for Suzune. If you did manage to find a heart for your sister, what would you do? What do you mean? Say, if you happen across someone who was a donor match. I would do anything. Anything? Yeah, whatever it took. I'd risk my own life if it meant helping Suzune. I mean at that point. I'd assume God had granted me a miracle or something, you know? Mr. Tanaka? Unfortunately for these two, it's not Mr. Tanaka. Right now, Tanaka is at the Asawa residence on his way to speak with Kenji Asawa, who's washing dishes after lunch. We might need that later. Hitomi's voice was barely a squeak. For a moment, all was silent. Maybe it's just a cat, Hachi suggested. Or not. Maybe it's just a cat. Meow. We might need that later as well. The doorknob rattled ominously. You really think that's Tanaka? Hachi asked. I'm not sure. If it were him, I'd think he'd probably say something. Hachi grabbed Hitomi's hand. We'd better hide. Two of them slipped behind a large piece of plywood stage dressing. The door swung open with a loud creak. Oh my god, it is... It is Tama. In stepped a cat. Oh, it's just a kitty cat. A giant kitty cat, walking upright. Hachi and Hitomi stared in confusion as someone in a cat costume slipped into the room. There was something vaguely sinister about the fuzzy figure. What? The cat had both hands stuffed into its pockets, and it shuffled as it walked, dragging one leg. You think that's someone with the theater troupe? Hachi whispered. Maybe. The two huddled in the shadows, pressed almost cheek to cheek. They watched as the cat rifled around inside one of its pockets and then pulled something out. It was a bundle of keys, no doubt the ones it had used to get inside. Hachi's eyes fixed on the furry mitt that held them. What the fuck? It was stained dark red. I don't think that's Tama. Didn't in what I played, Tama took off the suit? Did someone steal a suit? Is this another suit? That could be only one thing. Blood. In that moment, Hachi finally realized just what was going on. That's no theater guy. It was the assassin. He'd used the catsuit to slip past the theater people, and had somehow gotten his hands on the storeroom keys. Now he tossed the keys away, then delicately adjusted the costume's wobbly head. Hitomi, we gotta run. Huh? Hitomi seemed frozen, mesmerized. Oh my god! Fucking nightmare fuel. The cat turned directly towards them. The fur around its mouth was stained crimson. Damn. Hitomi let out a high-pitched cry of shock. The cat drew its other hand out of its pocket. Clutched in his mitt was a gun. Hachi and Hitomi had nowhere to run. Nowhere to hide. Damn it! What's up with the cat? Disguised in the cat costume, the killer managed to corner Hachi and Hitomi. Where did he get that costume? As it happens, it's Tama's fault. She tossed the suit away after taking it off. allowing the assassin to find it and use it to deceive the theater troupe and gain access to the storeroom. Little could she have known. Okay, so because of this storyline, because of Achi's storyline, I can't take the suit off of Tama, is what this is telling me. Damn. That's how they're gonna do this to me. So what happens? Okay, I'll jump to Tama then here. It's interesting because there's two jumps here. Mr. Tanaka, Tomo's voice barely squeak. For a moment, all was silent. Maybe it's just a cat. Okay, let me see what happens when I jump here. Is this breaking the keep out or not? Nope. It's not breaking it. I need to get rid of this costume, whatever it takes. Take hold of the head in both hands and yank it upwards as hard as I can. Oh-ho? Please tell me I'm just not imagining things. Head feels a whole lot looser than it did before. If I give it a good enough push, then maybe... Comes off. I did it! I slip out of the rest of the costume and gleefully abandon it as I head for the knick-knack shop. No, 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 no! Give me the chance. Okay. I think I have to go back further. But I'm curious still what the... This might be then just a forced keep out, like, to make it so that you see what happens with Achi, and then you go back, and... So let me see if the keep out is not there. Here we go. Guess this cat's staying in the bag. It's a popular folk etymology asserts that the expression "let the cat out of the bag" comes from the unscrupulous practices of certain farmers who would sell a pig at market only to deceive the buyer by surreptitiously swapping out the purchased porker for a cat. The likelihood of anyone mistaking a cat, even one inside a bag, for a pig is, however, extremely low, let alone the likelihood that enough people would fall up for such a scheme to warrant a phrase referring to it entering the language. I figure I'll head to the knick-knack shop as is. It's still a keep out, but I think that'll at least correct Achi's storyline so that he doesn't just get straight up murdered. We're not wanting murder to happen to Achi. Probably be able to finish Achi's hour here too. Okay, I guess we're picking up right here. Sometimes I think that maybe I could apologize to this guys and we could go back to the good old days again. But that's never going to happen. Not unless Suzune gets better. He stared into the distance at nothing in particular. At least he'd sorted out how he felt about his former pals. Is there nothing that can help your sister? Tomi asked. She needs a heart transplant. And the problem with the heart transplant is that the timing is tricky. Even if there's a donor available, the transplant has to be performed within 4 hours or things get dicey. Oh, wow. I didn't realize. Get to read about the tricky heart transplant again. Someone with a heart that's a match for Suzune would need to die somewhere near her, somewhere that could perform the surgery within the 4-hour window. The odds of that happening are so small it would almost be a miracle, which is what my sister has been waiting for. Achi thumped the left side of his chest. If my heart would do the trick, I'd gladly let her have it. Damn it, I've got a strong heart too. He thumped himself on the chest again and again. He didn't mention it to Hitomi, but Suzune's blood type made finding her heart transplant even more difficult. She had Bombay blood. It was one of the rarest blood types in the world. Apparently there were only a few dozen people in all of Japan who had it. If Suzune were ever to receive a heart transplant, it would need to be from someone who also had Bombay blood. Achi? Hitomi sounded like she was on the verge of tears. Wow, she must really feel bad for Suzune. If you did manage to find a heart for your sister, what would you do? What do you mean? Say, if you happened to cross someone who was a donor match. I would do anything. Anything? Yeah, whatever it took. I'd risk my own life if it meant helping Suzune. I mean, at that point, I would assume God had granted me a miracle or something, you know? Okay. Clickety-clack at the door. Mr. Tanaka? Hitomi's voice was barely a squeak. For a moment, all was silent. Maybe it's just a cat, Achi suggested. Or not. That's a lot louder, and that actually kind of spooked me just a slight bit. Not gonna lie. I wasn't expecting this different thud noises than what we'd seen earlier. Suddenly, someone hit the door hard. It sounded like they were trying to break the lock. You really think that's Tanaka? Achi asked. I'm not sure. If it were him, I'd think he'd probably say something. Achi grabbed Tomi's hand. We'd better hide. The two of them slipped behind a large piece of plywood stage dressing. The door swung open with a loud creak. Ah, it's the dude with the cane! In stepped the man with the cane. What the heck? Achi whispered. What's he doing here? Gun drawn, the assassin prowled slowly around the storeroom. Achi and Hitomi crouched behind the plywood prop, trying not to make a sound. The man moved out of their line of sight. Achi gazed longingly at the door. Achi risked a peek around the corner of the plywood. He still couldn't see the man with the cane. The door was maybe 5 meters away. What should they do? No, yes. Oh, no. A is so risky. No. They needed to wait for a safer chance to escape. Ah, great. Achi heard the sound of a cell phone vibrating from behind a tall piece of plywood leaning by the door. The assassin stepped out from behind it. He still hadn't spotted his quarry. I'm sure this is the place. His voice was low and confident. Uh-oh. Did he have friends? Still clutching his phone, the assassin wandered deeper into the storeroom. Achi and Hitomi took the opportunity to slip out the door. They ran through the alleyways back toward the main road. Before they reached it, however, they suddenly found their path cut off by one of the foreigners who chased them earlier, the accomplice of the man with the pipe. He stood waiting for them, holding a knife in one hand. Out of the frying pan and into the fire. If they turned back, Achi knew, the man with the cane might catch up with them, and he had a gun. Achi slipped off his sleeveless jacket and wrapped it around his left arm. Okay, he was going to have to use his left arm to guard against the knife while punching with his right hand. He clenched his fist and braced himself, and then suddenly he froze. Huh? A small dark silhouette dropped from somewhere up above. Landing deftly, the newcomer lunged toward the man with the knife, closing the gap between them in the blink of an eye. Ugh! The figure delivered a swift chop to the back of the man's neck. He dropped to the pavement like a dead man, finally giving an Achi a clear view of the shadow behind him. Okay, sure, whatever. I mean, what? Who? Achi couldn't believe his eyes. It was a small-statured young woman with Middle Eastern features. Who? Whomst? Hitomi let out a little gasp. If it's fucking her sister... Is it Maria? No, it's Kenan? Okay, I don't know. Oh, fuck. Hits me with the to be continued. Introduced to a new character. Alright, we'll have to wait a bit. Let's see who that person is, I guess. Alright, so that's two storylines. Two storylines down. I don't know how to get into Tama's story here. This is still showing his bad end. I feel as if the way this is portrayed is that something in Tama's corrects this to not be bad. And this, is this a jump from here as well? Am I jumping 355? Let me see. Let me see if the jump back here is to 355 of Osawa. Click, click, clack. Nope, hit the wrong button. Wrong button. Let's see if it's 3. Yeah, it is 355. Alright. Jump! Alright, broke the keep out tape. Should be able to finish up this hour then. I forget what the hell was happening here. Director, if you have a moment. Tanaka poked his head into the kitchen. I've got something urgent to discuss with you. Yes, of course. Sawa took the bug tracker from his pocket and handed it back to Kajiwara. I won't be needing this anymore. It's a lovely beeping sound. As soon as they had left the kitchen, Tanaka leaned in close and whispered to him. I got an email from Hitomi. He showed his cell phone to Osawa. Looks like my sister is being held captive in a blue minivan somewhere in Shibuya. But that man is still chasing me, so I can't really go looking for it. A blue minivan. Allow me to handle this, sir. I'll figure something out. Osawa knew he trusted Tanaka for a reason. Thank you, he said with a bow. Oh, you wouldn't happen to know any place she might have gone, do you, sir? What? It's just that all she's told me is that she's been moving around. I'm sorry. I don't really have any idea, Osawa replied. He was really ashamed to say it. There wasn't a single place he knew of where his daughter might be inclined to go. Ah, I see. Tanaka picked up his discomfort. Picking up on his discomfort was visibly embarrassed himself. He hastened to change the subject. By the way, how did you talk with Mr. Makino go? I confirmed that he was behind the human testing. But I don't know who sent me those emails. Tanaka paused for a moment and thought, looking like he might have a hunch. Alright then, he said. We'll have to talk in more detail later. With that, the assistant director headed for the front door. Mr. Sawa, Kajiwara spoke from the kitchen door. Peeping in on me again, huh? Sawa grumbled. Thankfully, it didn't appear that detective had overheard his conversation with Tanaka. And good grief, that thing is noisy. If it's broken, why don't you just throw it out? Sounds from the bug tracker grew fainter and fainter. Something wasn't right. Sawa now realized. Mr. Sawa, Kajiwara said, this is my bug tracker. So? Sawa huffed. What I mean is, sir, this one isn't broken. What was that noise? The fuck is this? Tribal music! Overcome with the music there for a sec. What? A chill ran up Osawa's spine. He swallowed audibly. I pinpointed the source of the signal, Kajiwara said. It's coming from Mr. Tanaka. No, Osawa thought. I must have misheard that. Hold on. Say that again? I've located the source of the signal. It's coming from Mr. Tanaka, the detective repeated. This time Osawa heard him crystal clear. I'm certain of it. Mr. Tanaka has a listening device on him. Osawa felt the blood draining from his face. If someone had been listening in on the conversation just now, and they'd heard about the email from Hitomi. If the kidnappers were the ones listening, that meant Maria's life was now in danger. I'll go after him, sir. Kajawar broke into a sprint. I saw it follow close behind. Oh, fuck, it's all heating up here. We can't trust Tanaka! I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Alright, that's 3 of 5. Who the fuck jumps into Tama's story here? Gotta find a jump. A jump into Tama. That's too far back. Wait, is this it? Is this a jump into... What's the time I'm looking for? Like a 1340 or 45? 35? No, I don't think that's the right one. I don't think that's the case. Maybe I'm supposed to resolve this. What is the bad end here for? Say? Someone can do something at 1340 that throws a wrench into Kano's activities thanks to the involvement of unrelated parties. I think there must be a decision somewhere at 1340 that I can switch. 1340. Looking for this. There's a totally not jealous, which I doubt is... I don't think it's this, because that's... There's this, but 1340. I'll try this. Guess we'll find out. One or the other. Okay. So I'm not asking him the survey question. No, nothing really came to mind. It's about time to wrap this up. Thank you for your time, Mr. Yanagashita. If you'll excuse me, though, I have to get to another interview. Oh, no, of course. Allow me to walk you out. Yanagashita rose to his feet as Minorikawa got up to leave. Oh, that won't be necessary. It's no trouble. I'm heading out now myself. Gotta run before those guys show up. What guys do you mean? Oh, nobody. Just a personal thing is all. Fucking loan sharks. They parted ways outside the building and Minorikawa headed off to the cafe to put his article together. Oh, perfect timing. Wait, so did that change the thing? Just by not... It certainly looks like it. So maybe... By changing that, him not doing the survey... That would mean he doesn't meet up with the loan sharks there because he got out fast enough. Interesting. So, this is finally some movement. How would... I'm just trying to piece it together in my head. Didn't run into loan sharks, and it was that... Is Yanagashita running into the loan sharks what was causing potential traffic backup? Build up? I guess that's what's implying. It's been a few days. I don't remember how Yanagashita getting caught by the loan sharks ultimately impacted this, but... At long last, the traffic began to move again. Almost as soon as it did, however, Stanley had to slam on the brakes. Oh! I'm getting my answer. He got out, didn't run into loan sharks, and instead he's running into Kano. Great. frantic-looking man had jumped out in front of the car. Whoa, hey, what the hell are you doing? Kano sputtered. The stranger plastered his face against the passenger side window. Great, good, yep. Open up, he shouted. Open the door! The guy showed every sign of total panic. It's Junichi Yanagashita. Something happened just after he parted ways with Minorikawa. Now he's running this way, and in quite a panic at that. I don't need to use this jump at all. Don't do it, Stanley warned. Kano hesitated. It wasn't like they could just drive off with this fellow clinging to the car. Yep, please, you gotta help me. The man slipped his fingers in through the gap in the window, trying to force it further open. Help me! Whoa, hold on, what's your deal? Help me! Sir, just tell me what... Help me! Look, up ahead, Stanley exclaimed suddenly. Kano whipped his head around. There, walking along the sidewalk ahead, was Al Karawan, very much not in custody. What the hell? Kano tried to jump out of the car, but the frantic stranger had gotten his upper body wedged in the window, and the door wouldn't open. Stanley, his usual steely expression replaced with a look of shock, I mean, exited on the driver's side and went after Al Karawan himself. Kano shouted at the man in the window. Get out of the way! But no matter how hard Kano tried to push him back, the guy wouldn't stop trying to force his way in. Come on, man! Kano yelled. Stanley and Al Karawan were getting further and further away. Seriously, knock it off! Then suddenly the man was yanked back through the window from behind. A pair of rough-looking men had grabbed him by his lower body. No, no! He screamed. I can't do 80 days hard labor! Somehow he was still managing to cling to the car door. Just give it up and let go already, snarled one of the assailants. The pair shifted their grip and pulled even harder. Kano heard the sound of tearing fabric as the two toughs tumbled backwards. Yeah, great. Just like that, the crazed stranger was stripped down to his boxers. He let out a pathetic wail. "Aw, man!" The two toughs burst into uproarious laughter at the sight. "Now's our chance," one of them managed to sputter. The pantsless man snatched up his ruined garment and bolted like a startled hare. To dart off incredibly quickly in the manner of a fleeing rabbit. Yanagashita runs a lot more like a rat than a rabbit, though. Damn. Still cackling madly, his two pursuers rushed after him. I love how I got my answer directly after being like, how did this impact the story? Kano was still staring dumbstruck at this spectacle when Stanley returned to the car. No luck. I lost track of him. This doesn't make sense, Kano said, forcing himself to refocus on the case. Al Karawan was taken back to the precinct. What's he doing walking free? Stanley gave him a dubious look. Have you seriously not figured it out? He asked. Or is this some kind of strange Japanese joke I'm not getting? What are you talking about? Kano replied. Do you know something I don't? Evidently I do. Your detective Tatsuno let him go on purpose. That's the only explanation. Enraged at the suggestion, Kano took a swing at him, but Stanley coyly caught his fist. It's not me you should be punching, the American warned. It's Tatsuno. How dare you talk about Tatsuno? My guy. Abashed, Kano radioed up Kuze on the wireless. Sir, did Detective Tatsuno bring Tariq Al-Karawan into the precinct? It would appear that, Detective Tatsuno has gone rogue, Kuze replied with chagrin, I mean. He what? Surely Kano had misheard. We've received an eyewitness account. Someone saw him allowing the suspect to go free. No, it can't be. Currently do not know Detective Tatsuno's whereabouts, or just what the hell is going on with him. After Kano ended the call, Stanley let out a low chuckle. Heh, I see. Looks like you had a traitor in your midst. Kano grabbed him by the collar. Stanley snorted. What are you trying to pull here? Tell me what you know, Kano snapped. All I did is state the facts. Look, I watched that man risk his life to talk down a would-be arsonist. He's a dyed-in-the-wool detective. He'd never betray anybody. I see, Stanley murmured. Then he's the real deal. Kano stared in surprise. He'd expected an argument. Good, he said. I'm glad we're on the same page. Tatsuno risked his life in order to get people to trust him. He's a dyed-in-the-wool spy, is what he is. Kano didn't have the words. His clenched fist trembling once more. He fumbled for his cell phone again. He dialed Tatsuno's number. The phone rang 5 times but failed to connect. There has to be a reason for this, Kano muttered. Tatsuno must know something we don't. Really now? Stanley scoffed. And what makes you so sure of that? Because Detective Tatsuno was sure his kidnapping wasn't about the ransom. This kidnapping, not his kidnapping, this kidnapping. Quite different. Sentence there. Kano's mind drifted back to 9 o'clock that morning. Ahead of their stakeout at the Scramble, he was walking with Tatsuno through the halls of the Shibuya precinct. We're going to do a bang-up job out there, Detective Tatsuno, he chirped. He was maybe a bit too excited about getting to take part in such a major case. Tatsuno pulled Kano on the back, patted Kano on the back. You need to take a step back. You're not letting yourself see the forest for the trees. What do you mean, sir? What I mean is that this is no ordinary kidnapping. Tatsuno's words triggered a little revelation. You're talking about the location for the ransom handoff, aren't you? Kano said. It doesn't make sense for the criminals to pick such a major intersection. Warmer, Tatsuno replied. Kano frowned inwardly. He'd been so sure that was the answer. Have you thought about why they asked to have the sister make the handoff? Kano thought some more before answering. Because women are easier to deal with. That's a question. Because women are easier to deal with? Easier to deal with? Slurring all my words here. Colder. If that was the case, why not pick the mother? No. What worries me is the fact that the Sawa girls are twins. They're having us send someone in the handoff who looks identical to the girl they kidnapped. What's going to happen when we do that? What is going to happen, sir? Kano asked. I'm not sure yet, but I have a feeling the kidnapper's plan hinges on it. The two exited through the precinct's main entrance. Up ahead, rows of buildings stood tall against the backdrop of bright blue sky. Tatsuno let out a quiet sigh. To think that so many terrible things are happening out there on such a beautiful day. Solve one case and another's waiting, he went on, as always. What is it about people that drives them to do such horrible things? A girl, abducted out of pure greed. When I think of how her parents must feel, I almost can't bear it. They made their way toward the Scramble. Tatsuno continued, talking in a quiet voice. My father was a raging alcoholic. The house was always a complete mess. He was loud, violent, never had any money, always reeked of booze. My mother, she would cry and cry. I was afraid to come home. Every day I stayed out playing as late as I could possibly manage. Kano could hear the pain in Tatsuno's voice. That life took too much of a toll on my mother. She died when I was still in grade school. And my father, he just got worse. I was there with him at the end, after he'd wasted away to almost nothing. Not the sort of childhood I'd ever wish on anybody. Sounds like you really went through a lot. Kano hated himself for uttering such an empty platitude, but he had no idea what else to say. Kano, as old as I am, I still don't really know what it is to be happy. I think that's probably because I've never known what it's like to have a happy family. Tatsuno sounded so forlorn. The only happiness I know how to protect is other people's happiness. Kano heard in those words the soul of a true detective. I just hope you're ready. Kano did his best to keep his voice as calm and level as he could, lifting up his clenched fist. Because if I find proof that Tatsuno is innocent, I'm planting this right into your jaw. Stanley just cracked a wry smile. The traffic had finally diminished, and they rapidly drew close to their destination. The syndicate's hangout was in Tomigawa. Gaya. Not a W. To the southwest of Yoyogi Park. The ratty building looked like it might come crashing down at any minute. The Black Lodge sign out front looked deliberately ominous. Connor knew the place as a bar frequented by expats from various countries, as well as a hotbed of criminal activity. We were here with, Achi, right, for a bit? Hiding out? I'll take point, Stanley said. You back me up. He pulled a handgun from his suit pocket. It was a compact Glock, a model frequently used by the FBI or CIA. Wait, what? Yeah, we... The words are already... So we got here with... Are we repeating a part of the story? Just something that would have happened earlier? But now it's happening now? Kano drew his own gun, and the two cautiously made their way inside. At the end of the hallway was a wooden door. Stanley signaled with his eyes. Kano gave a tiny nod, and Stanley kicked the door in. The stench of blood hit them as soon as they stepped inside. Kano let out a startled gasp. There were nearly a dozen bodies sprawled out across the floor. Yeah, this is where then they got stabbed. So is it just gonna happen again? And be a bad end? He recognized them all. They were all men who'd participated in the repeated Itachi case handoffs. Each appeared to have been stabbed to death. Stanley took a closer look. The blood's not fully dried. These guys weren't killed that long ago. Kano quickly scanned the bar high and low. There were no sign of a killer in hiding. There was no trace of Maria either. One of the fallen men let out a faint, strained groan. Hey! Kano called out. Stay with us! He hunched down beside the wounded man. Ugh! A brief gurgle rose from the man's throat. He was clearly struggling to say something, but his voice was too garbled, too indistinct for Kano to make out any coherent words. Kanon. What was that? But there was no more. The dying man went limp and still. Okay, no, this is where the story changes, I guess. So, same actions where they got to this room full of stabbed people, but we got to it later in the timeline, like later in chronology, in chronological order. So then everyone did die, and we get whispered the name Kanon. So two storylines ended where we're like, oh, who's this mystery Kanon person? Now how the fuck do I get to... So that's 4 or 5. Who jumps into Tama's story to fix this? Unless it is really just that it's keep out until we finished everyone else's story, but I don't... That would be like the first time this game pulled that. That's not the right... Minorikawa jump. That's too late. I'll try this one more time. Mr. Tanaka, maybe it's just a cat. I mean, this is definitely a 1340 jump into Tama. But I don't... Oh, okay. Maybe I did just have to complete everyone else's story before seeing this ending. Potentially. Maybe that's what the game's doing. First time that's happened, but... Maybe in these 20 minutes of Tama's things, maybe it's a heavy plot point coming for Tama. That we were forced to keep her in the costume so that the others... The assassin couldn't wear the costume to kill Achi, so she's having to stay in there. Sales demo is over, and against all odds, I managed to get paid. Money clutched in one paw, I head to the knick-knack shop to finally buy that necklace I can't stop thinking about. Hello? Anyone here? I call out. There's no reply. Is the shopkeeper out? Ah, just a moment. Panting, the sales clerk comes scurrying into the shop behind me. Sorry about that, just had to pop out for a sec. Whew, you would not believe what I just saw. He leans against a pillar, gasping audibly as he tries to catch his breath. Ah, you're here about that necklace. Do you still have it? Of course. Thank you so much. I have half the money here, and the rest is in my... Oh, I suddenly remembered something very important. Oh no. The sales clerk gave me a curious look. What's the matter? My wallet, it's still in here. I pat the costume around the tummy. So why don't you just take that outfit off? Well, I mean, the zipper is kind of broken. I wouldn't be having all this trouble if I could just get out of this darn costume. Kind of broken? It's way more broken than that. The sales clerk points me to a full-body mirror. He's right, the zipper in back is hanging open. Taking this thing off will be a cinch now. Oh, thank you. I give him a bow. A bow. I'm not sure you need to be thanking me, he says. No, I do. If you hadn't pointed that out, I might have let myself stay stuck in here forever. So really, thank you so much. I bow again and again. Okay. Are we gonna finally get the reveal? What's the reveal? Wait, is it gonna be this? Is it Maria? What? It's Maria. I don't know why I didn't think I don't know why I hadn't thought about that before. I can't with this game. Oh my god, she... Okay, that was good. That was a good little animation. The reveal. Tama is Maria. I'm so dumb. Why didn't I, in these many hours I played this, I cannot believe I didn't think, I didn't even put it out there that that could possibly be an option. But it makes some sense that they'd hide Maria in Tama's costume. Can't believe you've done this, game. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, the obvious thing is after a reveal like that, okay, that makes sense. They'd want to hold off the reveal of that to be the last character on that hour, to be like, oh, okay. And that's why that keep out was there all the way until I'd finished everyone else's hour. So the obvious thing is to just go right into Maria and just be like, yep, let's continue. But Buck, the standard More like Buck the Obvious. I'm feeling Achi, or I'm feeling Minorikawa. Let's go Achi. We were doing a lot of Achi earlier. You must be Hitomi. The girl called Kanan. How am I gonna pronounce this name? I gotta choose now because it's apparently gonna be an important character here. Kanan? 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 Kanan. I think Kanan? Kanan. Kanan is the easiest way of saying it. Kanan sounds too much. The girl called Kanan spoke fairly fluent Japanese. Hitomi nodded in response. Yes, that's me. And you're Kanan, right? How did you know my name? Did Maria tell you? Yes. She told me about this amazing girl from overseas she made friends with. A thin smile crossed Kanan's lips at the words amazing. Then her look grew sad. Poor Maria. It's my fault that she was abducted. What? Achi and Hitomi gasped in unison. That's why I have to rescue her, Kanan added. Hold on a second, Hitomi said. What do you mean it's your fault? Kanan replied by jerking her chin in the direction of the main road. Better head that way, she said softly. Someone's coming. But Hitomi didn't back down. Please, tell me, why was my sister kidnapped? Several sets of footsteps echoed down the alley. They could see figures approaching now. By the looks of them, accomplices of the man Kanan had taken down earlier. You two, get out of here, she warned. I'll handle this. She stepped out in front of Achi and Hitomi, moving with such confidence that they didn't doubt she could handle the threat. Come to the Jijo? Gigo. We got 4 options. Gijo, Gigo, or Gijo. I don't fucking care. Gigo building at 3 o'clock. She added quietly, never taking her eyes off the advancing syndicate members. I don't know why I got so wrapped up in how to pronounce that stupid building's name. Huh? Hitomi squeaked. I'll explain everything then. The criminals broke into a run. Come on, Hitomi, let's go, Achi hissed. He took her by the hand and bolted from the alleyway. Action noises. The two didn't slow their pace until they'd put plenty of distance between themselves and the alleyway. Kanan said this was her fault. What could she have meant by that? The hard run hadn't made Hitomi forget the other girl's startling suggestion. Well, she said, she'll meet up with us again later, Achi said. We can ask her more about it then. In the meantime, an ache in his belly had made Achi realize he'd been running all day and hadn't eaten since the morning. People on a diet need to be careful about skipping meals. Going too long without proper nourishment can cause the body to store up its energy reserves, leading to weight gain instead of loss. Proper eating habits and proper exercise are key. Thanks, game. Maybe it's not the best timing, but do you want to get some food? I'll be okay. Tomi's face was racked with emotion. It's only natural, Hachi thought. Not only was she afraid for her sister's life, but there were all these people out to kill her too. And with this Kanan girl suddenly showing up, the situation was more confusing than ever. Still, they might as well address the few problems they could control. There was a fast food joint nearby. Let's go in there, Achi said. You might not be hungry, but you should still make sure you stay hydrated. Always good. Stay hydrated. Hitomi shook her head. But her wan face practically radiated exhaustion. Wan face? Wan face? Slightly outside of my vocab. It's one of those things where, like, You're like, I don't actually think I know how to read. You ever have those moments where you're just like, I don't know how to act. I probably don't know how to read. I just have memorized a bunch of words. I never actually learned how to read. Come on, we should rest up a little. But there's no rush. If we're going to meet up with Kanan later, it's probably best if we don't just wander aimlessly until then. Never know who we might run into. I guess you're right. The two went into the fast food restaurant together. Welcome, said the girl at the register with a bright smile. May I take your order? May I take your hat, sir? I don't know why I remember that line. I'll have the spaghetti with meat sauce. How about you, Hitomi? Spaghetti with meat sauce. Spaghetti with the sauce made from tomatoes and ground meat, also known as spaghetti bolognese. Bolognese? Bologna? I want to sound more Italian. Like Neapolitan spaghetti. Not Neapolitan, what the fuck? Like Neapolitan spaghetti flavored with ketchup. Ew. It is a perennial favorite of Japanese children. Frozen packages at the supermarket for around 200 yen a pop make for a simple and decently tasty microwavable meal. It's also easy on the wallet. Ketchup spaghetti does not sound good. I'm actually low-key not a big ketchup fan, I don't think. Like, I prefer other things over it on, like, hot dogs. On a burger, it's fine, but even then, I'd rather just get something else. Dipping fries in it is overrated. It's not a big ketchup guy. I've come to realize, pretty anti-ketchup. I'll just have an iced tea. Hey now, you should probably eat at least a little something. Okay, then I'll have a strawberry parfait. It's a dessert of strawberries topped with ice cream and whipped cream. Tomi has been so worried about her sister that she hasn't eaten anything since last night, but being with Hachi has calmed her nerves a little, and her appetite has returned. Perhaps her reflexive order of a strawberry parfait is a sign that she's not only hungry, but also still a little girl with a sweet tooth at heart. Question mark. Okay. Sure, game. She sounded a little embarrassed to be ordering a dessert. She should be. So yeah, said Hachi. One spaghetti and meat sauce and a strawberry parfait, please. Coming right up. The cashier promptly assembled their meal and set it out on a tray. We've got a special contest going on right now, she said. Please check it out if you're interested. The girl handed Hachi a flyer. It read, Iron Stomach Eating Contest. Oh, fuck yeah. Eat 1,000 scoops of ice cream and win 10 million yen. I don't know about that. Excuse me. Okay, it's a competitive eating event held by this establishment backed by Sun TV. The competition has been shared with the entire country over the internet. Many contestants have entered for a shot at the 10 million yen prize, but so far no one has been able to complete the eating challenge. Due to the large number of competitors who suffer from gastrointestinal distress as a result of their efforts, roughly 30 portable toilets have been set up outside the restaurant. What? What the heck? Hachi stared at the flyer as he took a seat at an open table. 1,000 scoops? That's impossible. Anyway, let's hurry up and eat. As Hachi stuffed his face with spaghetti, he thought back to their encounter with Kanan. Fuck it. Whatever. The girl had helped them out, sure, but could they really trust her completely? Might be dangerous to meet up with her again. Still, Hitomi needed to know more about what had happened to Maria. And Kanan obviously knew something about that. It looked like they'd need to take that risk. My sister really is amazing. Huh? Tomi's quiet words drew Hachi from his ruminations. He paused with a fork full of spaghetti halfway to his mouth. My sister met Kanan while she was on a trip to the Middle East with my father. Tomi nibbled at her parfait, looking lonesome. Cool, but how does that in particular make your sister amazing? It's typical of her is all. She's so dynamic and gung-ho about things, Tomi explained. Her gaze turned inward. It was just my father and sister who took that trip to the Middle East. I didn't go with them. I guess my mental image of that part of the world is mostly that it's really dangerous. To me, going there seemed like a huge risk, but Maria didn't see it that way. Huh, this just sounds like a bit of a loose cannon. But if you can't bring yourself to take risks, to do things, Tomi continued, you can't meet new people and have new experiences. That's the part I always get hung up on, the risk. I'd never be able to make a friend like Kanan. Achi's mind wandered as he listened to Tomi talk. Let's not do C. Don't, Achi, don't be like this. Don't be weird when she's opening up. Berating a fictional character over here. She and her sister might be twins, but each of them are still unique. Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there, he said. He held up a hand to cut her off. Huh? Tomi's eyes went wide. Why are you comparing yourself to your sister? I mean, I don't know what it's like to be a twin, but can't you just be yourself? Professor Palmer said the same thing. Achi didn't recognize the name. Oh, sorry. Leland Palmer. He's my university English professor. He's given me advice on a whole bunch of things. That sounded rather intimate. All sorts of worrying images shot through Achi's mind. Man, Achi, for how great of a character you are, you're also very, I don't even want to say singular-minded. You're just stupidly minded sometimes. So, how old is this teacher of yours? Huh? Around 40 or so, I guess? Great, Hachi thought to himself. Another middle-aged guy. Oh, God, Hachi, not again! His mind filled with another sequence of slightly more upsetting images. Oh, hey, ain't that Tomi Asawa? Oh, wow, you're right. Totally is. The college-aged couple sitting behind them were talking in hushed, excited tones. It's a good picture. Man, she really is a cutie, the young man observed. He made no attempt to hide the fact he was looking at Tomi over. Hey, hold on, Masa, said the girl. What gives? Masa, first-year student at Midoriyama Academy, who works part-time as a delivery driver for Dogen Hut, a noodle shop in Dogenzaka. Dogen Hut and Dogenzaka. He's taken the day off work today in order to attempt a dry run of the Iron Stomach eating competition, hoping to strike rich while his girlfriend looks on. But now that he's eaten 2 parfaits, his stomach isn't feeling well, and he's just gotten back from his 5th trip to the toilet. Well, I mean, she is Miss Midoriyama, right? Miss Midoriyama. Okay, let's do the B. Achi said nothing, but kept his ears tuned to the couple's conversation. You sure that's her? Yeah, it totally is. No, it isn't. Isn't that Maria Asawa? Oh, huh, maybe. Either way, she's super cute. Hey now, Masa, what gives? A first-year student at Midoriyama Academy who works, he's just back from suffering in the restroom, his stomach rather upset from eating too much parfait. While doing his business there, he happened to spot a magazine on the wall rack. Flipping through nonchalantly, he came across a potential 100,000 yen scratch card inside. Seeing that it had been scratched off, he considered trying for the prize, but then, deciding that it was no time to press his luck, left the restroom without scratching it. Okay. Achi turned back to Tomi. Is that true? He asked, peering intently at her face. Well, yeah. She nodded with an awkward smile. Well, I mean, you are really cute and all, Achi said. Miss Midoriyama. Well, I'll be. He nodded to himself as he took it all in. It was Professor Palmer who convinced me to enter that beauty contest, actually, Tomi said. The Miss Midoriyama contest at Midoriyama Academy is considered one of the top student beauty pageants in Japan. Pin-up shots of both Hitomi and Maria have already graced the pages of several magazines. Talent agencies have also made attempts to scout them, but both girls declined, claiming that they entered the contest just for the memories, and that they have no interest in show business. Huh? Achi's smile twisted up a little. He said if I really wanted to change myself, I should try entering. Hachi maintained his outward composure, but inside his heart was racing. Tanaka and Palmer, which of them held Hitomi's true affections? Or was she possibly leading on two middle-aged men at the same time? The more he thought about it, the worse his delusions became. What actually happened, though, is my sister and I both won the prize. Hitomi's words snapped at him out of his funk. She sounded disappointed. Huh? They gave out a double prize? Turns out my sister had entered the competition, too. She smiled a self-deprecating smile. Guess twins really do think alike, huh? Hey, double schmubble. You still won a prize, right? That's pretty impressive. Nah, they just picked me as an afterthought to my sister because twins sharing the prize made for a good headline. She looked away sadly. Did they say they picked you as an afterthought? They didn't have to. It was obvious that my sister really won. You can't know that. Maybe she was the afterthought. Come on, you need to believe in yourself. Tomi just hung her head. But I'm such a terrible person. Suddenly her eyes welled up with tears. I hate myself so much. I can never forgive myself for what I did. Hey, whoa. Achi watched her with trepidation. She looked like she might start bawling at any moment. What's the matter? The night my sister was kidnapped, I was supposed to go to a college party with her. But then all of a sudden she told me not to go. I kept asking her why not, but she just kept insisting I couldn't. Tony's face was bleak with regret. We both got mad, and I wound up blowing up at her. Again, flashback, 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 flashback. Okay, I get it. I don't need to go to the party. Fine. I'll just be your little tag-along anyway. Just like in that beauty contest. You couldn't just let me enter that by myself, could you? You always have to be the center of attention. Maria scowled. Fine. The party starts at 7 o'clock. Try not to forget, okay? I was kicking myself as long as I'd told her. No, I was kicking myself as soon as I'd told her off. My sister isn't the sort of person to tell me what to do or not do. She must have had a reason for not wanting me to go. I was planning on apologizing to her after the party, but then she was abducted, right? Achi polished off the last of his spaghetti. He sat down his fork, then wiped his mouth. Hitomi, I get why you're trying. Focus, Austin. Okay, Hitomi, I get why you're trying so hard to save your sister, he said. And maybe I'm not as tough as that Kanan girl, but I'll stick with you to the end if you'll let me. He tried his best to convey an optimism he didn't really feel. And once you found her and she's safe and sound, you could tell her you're sorry about what you said. At long last, Hitomi cracked a smile. Like all congested all of a sudden. The story's really getting to me. A short while later, the two arrived outside the Gigo building. Sega. They were a little early for their 3 o'clock meetup with Kanan. They decided that searching at random for the blue minivan was too risky. Could easily draw the attention of the man with the cane, or the foreign kidnappers. Getting information from Kanan seemed like the best next move. Oh, hey, Achi said as they waited. You got a little rip in your top. Tommy glanced at her shoulder and saw the tear in the fabric. Oh, you're right. When did that happen, I wonder? Must have snagged on something while we were running, I guess. We've got some time before Kanan gets here. Do you want to buy some new clothes? Huh? Are you sure that's a good idea? We'll stick out if we just stand around here waiting. May as well head inside until it's time. Since many celebrities did their shopping at Gigo, there were back entrances for times when the place was crowded. Everyone who frequented the old shopping district knew about them, including Achi and Hitomi. In a pinch, one of those back entrances could be an escape route. With this in mind, the two headed inside. Shibuya Gigo. At the time of the story, Gigo includes not only a fashion mall, but various amusements on its different levels. The second floor features all ages fun with rides, games, and sticker machines, while the third floor sports the latest arcade games for the core gamer. Core gamer. There's also a food court that offers things such as crepes, and loaded takoyaki, octopus dough balls. It was an entertainment complex featuring a video arcade and fashion shops. The ground floor and two basement levels of the building were designed as an amusement area outfitted with skee ball, claw cranes, fighting games, and the like. The second floor held a mix of photo booths and lady sweat shops. Lady sweat? What? Does not compute. On the third floor were specialty fashion boutiques, and on the fourth were restaurants. Achi and Tomi took the escalator to the second floor. Tomi started heading for the shops, but Achi stopped her. Hey, wait up! What's the matter? A dude hanging around a woman's clothing store is gonna stand out. I'll wait for you here. There seemed to be nobody but female customers around. If the man with the cane or the kidnappers appeared, Achi figured he would spot them right away. Should be safe for Tomi to shop on her own for a short while. Alright, Tomi said. I'll try to make this quick. She began to head out into the sales floor. Fucking excuse me? Woo! A seedy-looking man poked out from beneath the door of a photo booth right at Tomi's feet. That was a close one, wasn't it, Tama? He said to her. I thought I was dead meat for sure. His tone was oddly cheerful, considering what he was saying. Who's this guy? Achi asked. You know him? No, I don't. The sketchy fellow gave her an ingratiating look. Come on, Tama, don't be like that. Hitomi took an anxious step back. Hey man, knock it off. Achi dragged the guy up to his feet. Okay, no need to get all testy. Who is this guy? Tama. He your boyfriend? Boyfriend? No. Sure, whatever. Is what he was about to say, but Hitomi spoke up first. No, he's not. Got him. Excuse me. Sorry about that. What, so you're not her boyfriend? The guy flashed a broad grin. Hey, listen, you creep. Who the hell are you? Oh, me? The man's face suddenly blanched. Oh, crap. Tama, hold on to this for a bit, will ya? The weirdo shoved a worn-out magazine into Tomi's hands, then bolted off in a panic. The heck was that all about? Yeah, I wonder why I ran off like that. Achi and Tomi stared at one another. Well, anyway, Achi said, there are a lot of nut jobs out there, so just be careful, yeah? Okay, if anything happens, I'll give you a shout. Tomi flashed him an impish smile, then scampered off into the sales floor. As he watched her go, Achi muttered to himself, damn it, why does she have to be so cute? Oh, Achi. You love-struck fool. You fool! So people just staring at him. 5 minutes or more passed as Achi waited for Hitomi. He stood by the escalator, almost as if he were keeping guard. Female shoppers began to give him icy stares for being somewhere he probably shouldn't. This sucks. This recalls a moment where I remember back when a friend of mine, Colton, friend Colton from way back on this channel when we were doing a Kingdom Hearts 2 playthrough of him, with him. He worked at Victoria's Secret for a while. And I remember a certain day, I don't know why, but like, I remember spending most of the day at whatever little mall area he was working at. Was it La Cantera? He worked at, I don't know, some like mall section where he worked at the Victoria's Secret at. And for some reason, I was having to wait on him to work through his shift or finish his shift or something. And for a while before I got weirded out, because I felt like exactly in this situation, like I was hanging inside of Victoria's Secret, and then for some reason I feel like everyone was staring at me for a reason, even though I tried very hard not to be like awkward or anything, because it's just a fucking shop. It's just a shop. But then finally I just caved. I was like, I'm gonna go eat a pretzel or something. And I just left. Weird memory. This sucks. Come on, Hitomi, hurry up and get it back here. The longer he waited, the more uncomfortable he felt. How long was she going to take? Then he happened to turn around to see Hitomi riding the escalator up. It looked like she had indeed bought some new clothes. Hey, Hitomi! She didn't seem to hear him. See, I don't think that's Hitomi. That's the whole joke. This is the whole thing. It's fucking Maria. And the whole story bit is, oh, we're changing the clothes. But no, it's fucking Maria. AKA Tama. Sure, just shout louder. Yell right at her. He decided to shout a bit louder. Hey, come on, wait up! Hitomi stole a quick look back at him. Where are you going? He called. It's not safe for us to get too separated. Yet still she continued her flight toward the upper floors. Did she not realize it was him or something? Achi hurried in pursuit. This is like the first massive time. No, not the first time. I take that back. I was gonna say that one of the main 5 characters ran into each other, Achi and Maria. But I guess technically, like, Tama mixed up with Minorikawa for a second, like passed by. So it's not the first time. Achi followed her, but by the time he reached the top, she was out of sight. This was the restaurant floor, so it was more open than the other levels. A floor designated solely for eateries. Typically, this is the topmost floor of a mall building like Gigo. Those who head up here during morning hours will likely find the place deserted. Gigo's restaurant's floor features a variety of different cuisines, including Chinese, Italian, creative Japanese food, sushi, tempura, and other delicacies from around the world. He hurriedly began to look around. As he wandered, he bumped into a man talking on his cell phone. Ah, sorry, my bad. Achi held up a hand in apology, but the man was too engrossed in his conversation to notice. No, you're not getting it. The lock was undone, too. The man startled Achi by suddenly shouting into his phone. You need to consider the risk of it getting out. Whatever this guy was talking about, he sure was angry with whoever was on the other end. Look, I'll figure out just what to do about the minivan. You just handle things on your end. Minivan? Achi's interest was piqued. But he needed to find Hitomi before he let anything distract him. As he scoured the 4th floor, he came across a Chinese buffet and noticed the large windows in its outer walls. You could see a lot of Shibuya through those windows. Maybe Hitomi had decided to look for the minivan from up here. One of the restaurant employees came rushing up as Achi headed inside. Sir, I'm sorry, she said. Ah, sir, you'll have to forgive the inconvenience. We're not open for the, public. Not right now. Not at the moment, I mean. The employee's voice was oddly subdued for some reason. What the fuck? What is this gonna be? Masai Takei, part-time staffer at Imabiki Chinese restaurant. Her boss chewed her out pretty bad for showing up to work with her nails manicured black. She was ordered to go to the restroom and scrub them clean, but no amount of nail polish remover was able to do the trick, and so she's been dealing with her boss's wrath all day long. Fuck? Why is it so weird? Why is this game so weird? Why not? Hachi asked. Well, you see, one of our other customers ate all of our food. They ate all of it? Great. Looking around, Hachi saw a chubby young woman camped out at a table by one of the windows. Set out before her was a veritable mountain of plates. What I'm trying to say, sir, is that we're, closed for the rest of the day. Oh, but I'm with her, actually, Hachi lied. Without waiting for a reply, he barged into the restaurant. He took a quick look around, but there was no sign of Tomi. Before leaving, though, he figured he'd at least take a look out the windows. Huge glass panes looked out into Dogenzaka. He had a decent view of the roads, but he didn't spot a blue minivan. Hachi dropped his gaze to the sidewalk outside the building. Uh-oh. Oh! He let out a tiny gasp. Even from the 4 stories up, there was no mistaking what he saw. A group of black-clad foreign men had gathered outside the building. Had they figured out that he and Hitomi were inside? He needed to find her, and fast. He raced out of the restaurant, alert for trouble. Oh, keep out. I think that'll do it for the night. I think I originally thought maybe I'd go about 1 more hour, but I think that's a good place to stop. Getting pretty far here into, not that far really, but getting to a stopping point at Hachi's story here. So yeah, that ends the stream. It was a nice distraction for the night, to be completely honest, for me, as I kind of pointed out there at the beginning. These last couple of days have been rough, honestly. Seeing everything that's going on is really saddening. I know I normally end these streams awkwardly, and I'm like, I don't know how to end streams, as I like fade into the back, into the abyss, basically. But yeah, this was 2 hours of something to just end a day basically, where I've felt nothing but hurt for the situations, and then seeing the just brutality aimed towards protesters, and now the co-optness of the protesters, and then fake ass protesters stealing the story, where it's all just terrible. Cops just being massive assholes, being the fucking worst. Nothing new, honestly. Nothing new. So yeah, it's just infuriating. I spent pretty much all today just watching it all kind of unfold, pretty much over like social media and stuff, like I assume a lot of people are, and just being infuriated and heartbroken and helpless almost, because like there's not a lot that a lot of people can do in certain situations, which sucks. Because there's the moments where you're like, damn, like, unless you're just fucking heartless, like, you see these things and you're like, I wish there's more I could do. And, like, you can protest if you're at an area where you can protest, potentially. and I wasn't at like a position to necessarily do that. And then so it's like, okay, you can donate money to certain causes, and that's great, that's good, but and then you can, but it all just feels like it's not enough. And like I fear because this is how it is, this is how it goes. This will sadly be a thing for a few more days maybe, and then the outrage from the majority of people will subside because some other shitty thing's gonna happen, and people will still be suffering. And that's the kind of thing, like, you just know that, like, the sadness that I feel about this whole situation is gonna come in waves. Like, there's this initial sadness where you're like, there's the initial sadness where a cop just openly just fucking kills someone, and you're like, shit, nothing, same old shit, same old fucked up. So that happens, and then so you feel that, you feel the pain, you feel like, man, we're still nowhere getting. You're just reminded that we're still in a fucked up society that's not correcting itself. So that happens, and then you see the protest, and you're like, okay, cool. And then you see that, you know, protests are being met with. My fucking thing is thinking I said Google or something. That scared me as I'm over here venting. Thanks a lot. Where the fuck was I? Okay, so then the next wave is you see the protests and you're like, great. But you see that police are responding terribly. Government's responding terribly. Fucked up people online responding terribly. People not understanding at all still. So many thick skulls online where you're just like, you don't understand. Whether it's the people that are like, oh, fucking riots, destroying property, what good does that do? Those thick skull people being like, oh, this just shows how important it is to vote come November. Like, just as dumb. As if we've never had a president that isn't Trump, that, like, and we haven't had these problems until he came into office like 3.5 years ago. Like this was the harbinger of, like, just all the bad. It's so dumb. It's just oblivious. So then that's another wave where it's the immediate things, like the things that are happening this past week and everything. And you're just like, oh, it's fucked up. And then, like I said, the third wave of the sadness is going to be when the majority of the visible outrage dissipates, and then you just know that something like this is going to rear its ugly head again somewhere down the line. But we'll all have to forget about this current situation because some other fucked up things happened in this country. A mass shooting, perhaps. You know what? I think we're ready for a mass shooting here in the next couple of days to clear our heads of this whole thing. And then we can all get pissed about the shitty gun. It's so saddening. It's maddening, it's saddening, it's everything. I knew I was wanting to say at least like a minute or two of things at the end of the stream to like just vent just a bit of frustrations and to close it on. And I didn't mean it to be several minutes long. I mean, it just screaming into the void. Because that's what it feels like sometimes. Like, just putting an immense amount of frustration into a void. And we've seen this time and time again. I had recently spoken to my mom on the phone a couple weeks back, and I think we were specifically referencing the coronavirus situation and just how fucked up it all was and everything. And I remember saying to her, I was like, I remember growing up, the whole thing as a kid was like, oh man, it's gonna suck getting older because of responsibilities and paying bills and shit. And then I said to my mom just like a couple weeks ago, it's like, no, the worst thing about growing up and becoming an adult is your eyes are literally just open to just society's failure and how it just constantly will let you down. And there's almost nothing that feels like you can do to stop it. That's the actual depressing shit. Responsibilities and bills is nothing. Constantly being let down by everything else around you is the biggest depressive thing. I don't know if I'll stream tomorrow. As of this morning, I thought that I'd probably want to try to like just put in hours into Destroy All Humans 2 tomorrow to finish it potentially and get the 100% everything. I don't know. Depends. I don't know how well I'm gonna sleep tonight because I am actually like I said, this was like a 2-hour distraction from a day where I have felt just mad and sad and upset about everything. So I don't know. We'll see how Sunday looks. Like I said, I waffled on even wanting to do this tonight. It was a good 2 hours. But yeah, it just partly feels hollow. Partly. Like so many things feel hollow sometimes. If you can, if you're able, find donation links to bail funds to different cities. Don't get scammed by fake links and shit. Don't give money to Sean King. Fuck that guy. Do what you can. If you don't understand, listen. I said that earlier. If you're oblivious, try to learn. Try to see the problems. I don't know how else to say it. I hope watching. I hope you have a nice rest of your night and Sunday as well, especially if I'm not going live. If you're watching archived, whatever day you happen to be watching this, who knows? Someone could be watching this years down the line, and they're like, what the hell is he talking about? Life is great. Years from now, maybe. I don't know. I doubt it. Each year just gets worse. Whatever. Now I'm just rambling. Now it's gotten into the bad part. Take your pick. Awkward ending where I don't know how to end, or just venting in frustration and just wanting to scream as an ending. Until next time, I don't know if it'll be tomorrow. Take it easy and have a nice rest of your Saturday.